All right, we are going to dig into today's boot camp. Welcome to our boot camp. This boot camp we host on the first Friday of every month. So it is a 3-hour program and it is chock full of tools, training, technology. We're going to give you Canva blueprints to build your listing presentation, your buyer presentation. We have so much content. I always say we'll try to get off a little bit early because I know 3 hours is a really long time to focus on a Zoom, but oftentimes we go right to the end because there's just so much stuff. First off, welcome to everybody. This program is designed for any real estate professional, so you don't have to be a member of our brokerage in order to get access to all the tools that we're going to share throughout the morning. It's open to everyone. And the first thing I like to remind everybody before we get started is that knowledge is not power, execution is power. Knowledge is just potential. So make sure that you have a pen and paper available to take notes throughout the program, because the key is, while we're so excited to have you here for the class, we want to make sure that when you leave, that you're going to go execute on some of the items that we talk about. I say 5 items is a good number to go execute on. Now, as a reminder, this program is recorded, so you can come back to our Facebook group, or you can come back to our YouTube station at youtube.com/LAER, LAER training. And right after the program, and you can watch the rerun of this. The reason I say that is because you want to write down the 5 things that you're going to execute on as you watch today's program, and we'll give you pointers as we go. We'll say, hey, if you don't have this item, this is probably one of the things you should be executing on. But once you've executed on those 5 items, then you can come back and watch the rerun, watch it on YouTube or watch Facebook group, and then execute on 5 more items. And yes, don't worry, you'll have way more than 5 items that you'll be able to execute on at probably in the next half an hour, never mind at the end of the program. There's just tons of content. The idea of the program is to give you everything you could possibly need to build your business. Every secret is going to be revealed throughout the program, so that while it doesn't give you, it gives you all the tools to build your real estate business. Some of them you'll have to come back to, for example, like our growth system. If you need help actually systematizing your business, we'll show you where to get that so that you can come back and do that down the road. So again, if you just logged on, this program is open to any agent from any firm. You will get as much out of today's program as any of our agents. The program is not meant to recruit real estate agents. Our program is meant to help every agent become the best version of themselves. And with that, we're going to dig into today's boot camp. So the first place that I'm going to start is our LAER program guide. Hold on, I got to get out of here for a second. The LAER program guide, which is, this is the tool that our agents use to know the tools, training, technology that is available at LAER. Hold on, I'm going to stop sharing so I can get onto my next screen. It's a 40-page magazine. When agents join our brokerage, we give them this 40-page magazine of all the tools and resources. I'm just going to start there, but then we're going to move into, I'm going to show you a free site where we put all of our Canva templates for listing presentations, for sale by owner presentations, you name it. But this kind of gives us a blueprint of the direction we want to go in throughout today's program. Because the LAER program and services guide, this magazine is set up in an order that of the things that matter most to real estate agents. So for example, it's set up into 4 sections, and the first section is marketing and branding. That's one of the areas that many real estate agents need the most help with. So marketing themselves, but also creating beautiful branded materials so that when you show up on a listing presentation or a buyer presentation, that you look professional, that you look like you know what you're doing. And so we'll provide all of those resources for you today. So you will not have to create anything from scratch after you watch today's program. Okay, so this is the LAER program and services guide. Anybody can download this, by the way, at laerrealty.com/success tools. By the way, just a little background on our company. We're independent real estate brokerage that is based in New England and Florida. We have about 800 real estate agents. Where we got our name from when we started the brokerage is our goal has always been to help all agents become the best version of themselves. And so when starting the brokerage, our goal was to attract great agents and build great real estate agents. Well, what makes a great real estate agent? 3 things in our opinion. First, the best agents are strong. They are, number 2, negotiators of difficult terrain, meaning the best agents are really good at overcoming obstacles. That's basically what our jobs are when you look at the real estate business from a wide lens. Like, all we do is overcome obstacles. So number 2, great agents are really good at overcoming obstacles. And number 3, the best real estate agents are really good at working for the customer. In other words, the best agents don't focus on money. The money will come, but they don't focus on money. If you focus on money, the money never comes. But if you focus just on helping people, then you will build a very successful real estate business. So 11 years ago, we put all those words into a Google search: strong, protector, negotiator. And the first thing that came up was a lion in our Google search. So we said, that's it. We're going to build our brand around the lions of real estate. In the jungle, lions stay together in layers. We changed the spelling of LAER because ours is the mirror image of real, since we're in the real estate business. And then we created the acronym Local Agents, Extraordinary Results. So I tell people, sometimes you see a lion statue in front of a home. That is because the lion is a symbol of protection for the home. We look at it that there is a new symbol of protection for real estate across New England and Florida, and that is our LAER for sale sign. So that's a little history on us. If you've downloaded this booklet, again, you can download it at laerrealty.com/success tools. If you scroll to the bottom of that page, you can download a PDF version of it. If you're sitting in a place where you can print it, it's a nice place to take notes throughout the program. Once the first few pages of this guide are really for our agents. They define what our cultural values are. It then talks about the fact that we're really proud to be an independent real estate company. Even though we're small and we are independent, we are consistently ranked as one of the highest performing real estate brokerages in the country by Real Trends 500 and the Riz Media Power Broker Report. Now on to the good stuff. From here on out, the booklet is broken down into 4 sections, and we have ordered these items in a way based on what agents tell us matters most to them. And like I said, many agents feel that marketing and branding comes first on the things that they need the most. By the way, if you just logged in, as a reminder, this program is open to all agents from all firms. You don't have to be a LAER agent to get a great deal of value out of today's program. You'll get all the Canva templates, listing presentations, buyer presentations, all kinds of stuff throughout the program. And that is for any agent joining us for the program. So we're going to dig in for the next hour to hour and a half, just focusing on marketing and branding materials and where you can find tons, like tens of thousands of dollars worth of resources for your business so that you can start looking like the professional that you are. And so we're going to start our journey this morning at LAERagentservices.com. LAERagentservices.com is a site that is developed for great real estate agents. And first off, the one thing that you'll note when you first log on to LAERagentservices.com, there is no password protection. So any agent from any firm can go in and download wonderful materials for their business. I want to give you guys a brief overview of what's on the site so that you know where to find stuff. And then we're going to dig into the branding and marketing pieces for an hour to an hour and a half. Okay. So we're on LAERagentservices.com. Again, anybody can click over here and check it out. And right at the very top, first of all, I like to point out that there's this little table of contents at the very top. And then as you scroll down, there's all these little houses. The reason why we made houses is because we're in real estate, and real estate agents love to tour houses and go in and out and check out what's inside the houses. So as you explore our LAER agent services, you're going to get to go in and out of all of these little houses and find all kinds of amazing resources for your business. But let's start at the very top really quick. So at the very top here, first of all, if you are a LAER agent, the first thing we have at the very top is our host schedule. This is at each of our offices, we have hosts or staff members who are at the offices throughout the week. And they do a number of things. What's really important to know this for if you're a LAER agent is sometimes you have a client dropping something off or like a check or a signed document, and you want to make sure somebody's going to be in the office to receive it. You can get that at the Happy Agent Host schedule. You'll see that there's somebody in the office during the hour. So this gives you all 50 offices and who's available and what time they're there. Secondly, there's a link to the LAER news once a month. Our team writes an internal company newsletter about all the happenings at LAER. So it's just a little 4-page printable newsletter. And I always say, if you're a LAER agent, take a couple minutes each month just to peruse through it. We also have our hosts print a copy and leave it in the front reception area at each office. But what's great about it is it tells you like what's happening at LAER, who recently joined the brokerage. There's like a book section, technology tips section, and most importantly, you get to find out what's happening in the lives of your fellow staff and agents. So you can find out births or new babies, who got engaged, things like that. So, and then we always have our sustainability segment, a movies with a purpose segment, and then anything else like in the back, you could see all the birthdays for the month. Just a short little newsletter with great content. So that's at LAER News. At the top, this recently joined. We'll just take you down to the most recent agents who joined the brokerage. Marketing, most of these things are going to take you down to the section, to the house that corresponds with it. So for example, marketing is going to just bring you down to the marketing section, and we'll go visit that in a minute. our social media assistant, growth and development. All of these things are just going to move you down on the website to the area that you're looking for. So let's start at the very top here. First, if you recently joined LAER, there's some cool resources right at the top. Of course, the first resource is the Program and Services Guide. That's the guide that we just started with a minute ago. That's that 40-page magazine that we were just looking at. If you're a LAER agent, that's jam-packed with all kinds of great stuff. One thing I want to point out about the Program and Services Guide is that when you download the PDF version of it, which is at this link, when you go through the guide, there's anything that's underlined is a hyperlink to more information. So we wanted the guide to be interactive, that if you're looking at the page that talks about the Fellow CRM system, that you can go through and click on links to take you over to classes on how best to use Fellow for your business. We also have a section here, if you're a new LAER agent, of frequently asked questions. Our happy agent team is always happy to answer questions by emailing happyagent@laerrealty.com. But let's just say it's Saturday night at 10 o'clock p.m. and you have a quick question, it might be here at the frequently asked questions, because basically what we do is pull the questions we get most often at happyagent@laerrealty.com. That goes into our agent services. And then we answer the questions here. And then last but not least, under recently joined, tell the world. These are just marketing pieces for agents that recently joined the brokerage. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you could see the most recent agents who joined the brokerage. April was a very busy month at LAER. I think we onboarded like 55 or 60 agents total. So welcome, especially we welcomed a whole new office in Connecticut. So welcome to our entire team at Harriman Real Estate in Connecticut. I think we have 45 agents. I could see some of you guys are on here today. So super excited to have you. But in addition to that, we had agents from Florida, Massachusetts, Maine. It's been a very good month. Okay, now marketing, branding, and presentations. This is the part that most agents love our bootcamp for. We're going to spend some time on this morning and talking about what tools are absolutely essential for your business. And we're going to start at guides, presentations, and brochures. These are all Canva templates. So just for a moment, let's talk about Canva. Some of you guys are very familiar with Canva, and some of you have never used Canva. So Canva is a platform. It's both an app and a desktop program that you can design and create beautiful marketing pieces. So everything we have at LAER, we have created in Canva. Now, in the old days, we've been around for a long time. In the old days, we used to create all of our stuff using like Adobe, and that meant that we had to have marketers that created all of the pieces for us. And the agent really couldn't go in and make any changes. So under the Canva program, we still have our marketing team create beautiful pieces, but the agent can go in and make all the changes that they want, because the Canva product, unlike Adobe, is built for laymen. It's built for people that don't have a marketing degree, but really need nice marketing pieces. So in order to access any of our marketing pieces, you will need to create a Canva account. Let's talk about Canva for just a minute. Canva has two versions, a free version and a paid version. All of our stuff you can access and use with the free version. There's a caveat to that. So let's talk for just a moment about the paid version of Canva. I am very partial to the paid version of Canva. I think if real estate is your career, you should probably have a paid version of Canva for the $15 per month, but you can get away with using the free version to access and utilize all of our pieces. What is the difference between the free version and the paid version of Canva? There's a bunch of differences. The main ones for us, or for real estate purposes, is if you're using the free version of Canva, in the free version, you get probably about 1 million different stock images. So I just opened this for sale by owner guide. This is a new piece that our marketing team created, and it's like a magazine that you can customize and print. If let's say you have a for sale by owner in your neighborhood and you want to provide them some value and get in front of them, because potentially they may see that there's great value in having a real estate agent, which we know that they're more likely to get more money for the property if they actually use a real estate agent. And that's through statistics from the National Association of Realtors. Okay, back to Canva. Under the free version of Canva, they have about 1 million stock images. This image right here that you're seeing of the blue wall and the blue couch, that is what we call a stock image. That is not a photo that I took or anybody from my team went and took a photo. We got that image free from Canva. Now, if you're using the free version of Canva, there's probably 1 million stock images that you can use. And if you're using the paid version, if you're using the paid version of Canva, there's probably 10 million stock images. So since we're in marketing, we like to have 10 million images that we can choose from for creating our pieces. So here's what you'll need to know if you're using the free version of Canva. All of our stuff, or most of our stuff, is created using the paid version of Canva. So if you're using the free version, occasionally you're going to open a document that we created. Let's just say the for sale by owner template, and you'll see a Canva watermark. So across some images. And if you see a Canva watermark, all you have to do is switch the image out. And you could still use the entire piece. Like this one is a for sale by owner magazine that we wrote. So this is a 29-page for sale by owner magazine. And you'll see it's like, let me share this in a way that makes it a little easier to see. While I'm sharing this, in case you're not super familiar with Canva, when you open any of our templates in Canva, it is now yours. So you don't have to worry. You can go in and add your photo, your contact information. It is now your version. We're not going to see anything. Once you open any of our stuff in Canva, it is now your version of it. And you can go in and change out logos, pictures, phone numbers, etc. If you're using the free version of Canva, you will absolutely have to sometimes change out a stock image because we might have used the image that is only available to the paid Canva users. So this is the for sale by owner magazine we created. And it's just things, basically we designed it in a way that, number one, it offers value to a potential for sale by owner, somebody that is interested in selling their house on their own. But also we weaved through it the complexness, how complex it is for somebody to actually try to sell the home on their own. So it is designed in such a way that our goal is to convince a for sale by owner that they're kind of crazy to do it on their own. So it is mixed with tips and tools to help them sell the property on their own. But also it's designed in a way that we want to convince them that they are much better off just giving the listing to a real estate agent. Just with the legalities alone, they actually protect themselves more by hiring a real estate agent. So this is a very, very, very thorough magazine that we created. And you'll see at the very end of this, there's a place for you to add your photo and your bio and your contact information, etc. So that's just the for sale by owner piece of it. And like I said, when you're on LAER Agent Services, you're going to see hundreds of marketing pieces like this, branded materials. Anytime you open these, as soon as you open them, they become yours. So it says here, open template. As soon as you click on open template, it's opening in your Canva, and it is now your FSBO guide. It is your guide to selling a home. It is your listing presentation. It is your buyer presentation. So I'm going to go through a few of the items that I think every real estate agent should be utilizing in their business, but note that there's tons and tons of pieces available here. Okay. By the way, it looks like Sergio made some changes to our site to make it even easier for agents to search stuff, which is wonderful. Okay, so we have the 2025 for sale by owner guide. We also created this super thorough. This is another new piece. This is one of the reasons why you want to bookmark laeragentservices.com, because we are constantly upgrading and changing this site. We're constantly adding new stuff. Like I could see that the site looks different than 1 month ago when we did our last boot camp, because our marketing team is still updating and adding new stuff. So we also recently made a really wonderful, we're trying to get more agents to do classes, because it's a wonderful way to develop business and to develop leads. And there's all kinds of classes that you can create as a real estate agent, from how to maximize the value of your home, first-time home buyer classes, classes on staging, VA home buying classes. So here, our team put together a super comprehensive first-time home buyer course for real estate agents. So the idea behind this is you go and invite some partners to do the class with you, like a mortgage and attorney, etc., home inspector. But we've created the entire PowerPoint presentation so that your piece that you're delivering is phenomenal. So let's see, this one is, okay. So one thing I want to point out about this particular course is we had an agent, that's why we created it, is there was an agent that was actually creating a series, first-time homebuyer series. So instead of inviting the first-time homebuyer to one course, it was like a 4-part series. I only want to say that because this particular course, and by the way, in Canva, you can delete stuff. So you can take out pieces that aren't yours. But this is 155 slides. So that is because this is like a multi-part first-time homebuyer course that takes people from like everything, from how to select a house, how to mortgage information, thinking about their needs versus wants, showings and open houses. So you'll see it's super comprehensive. At the end of the day, you guys go in and take out the pieces you don't want, but the idea is you don't have to create anything. At LAER, we've literally created anything you could possibly need to build a significant business. The next piece, we have a great brochure. That this one also came out in 2025, how the market affects property prices. So this is just interesting because we're seeing in all of our different marketplaces, the market is the strangest market I've seen in 25 years of being in the business. And that is because in some areas, a house is going on the market and sitting on the market. Nobody's looking at it. And even when we know it's based on other recent pricing, it's priced where it should be or where we thought it should be. But in some areas, we're seeing a buildup of inventory and prices coming down a little bit. And in other markets, we're still seeing one of our agents just listed a property in Beverly, Massachusetts, and 83 people went through it, 15 offers, and went significantly over asking. So we wanted to create just a document that explains to a seller what exactly is affecting the market. So for example, in Beverly, there's not many houses for sale. So the inventory is still quite low in that town as compared to other towns where there's been a buildup of inventory where houses are likely to sit. Anyways, great content in our how the market affects property prices. We have an expired listing brochure. This one is like a 2024 piece that we created because we have a lot of agents that are focusing on expired listings. We also have a great document here that we created on owning versus renting. Let's see some of the others. We're going to have Craig on in a little while, our Chief Sustainability Officer, and he's going to talk about different ways to incorporate sustainability, which is kind of a necessity, into your business. And so we created a high performance home listing presentation and a high performance home, both buyer and listing presentation. Let's see. You got to make sure to click the see more at the bottom because it looks like there's no more stuff, but there's hundreds of pieces on here. We have a wonderful buyer's guide and a wonderful seller's guide. One thing I want to note, because I see we have agents from all over on our call today. Some of them are New England, some of them are Florida. Well, one thing you'll note with some of our pieces is that we have Florida versions and New England versions. Why is that? Well, something to keep in mind, especially if you're not a LAER agent, is just making sure that whatever you have in your presentation, whether it's a buyer guide or a seller's guide, that you are promising, whatever you're promising aligns with the type of agency that you are practicing. Here's what I mean by that. You'll see we have a buyer's guide for New England agents and a buyer's guide for Florida agents. Well, our offices in New England, we do practice buyer representation and seller representation. Typically, our Florida agents are transaction brokers, meaning they're really not, they don't have the same fiduciary standards as the New England agents. So that is why the promises that we make as to how we represent them in a fiduciary capacity are a little bit different in each of the guides. So we kind of eliminate some of the promises we make in the Florida version of the guide, only because we're not actually practicing the same type of fiduciary relationship. So if you're with another brokerage, just something to keep in mind as you're going through and evaluating which pieces you want to incorporate into your business. So we have a great buyer's guide. This is just like a magazine that you would put into your buyer package. So if you're going to meet a buyer and you do a buyer presentation, you would create this magazine. And again, you can go in, there's a whole section in here that you would customize for you. So the About Me section is just for you with your contact information, your picture, etc. And this one is a 18-page little magazine. You print it, bind it, and you put it into your buyer package. Let's see some of the other stuff. We also have a seller, LAER agent seller guide. So you can go in. So even if you're with another brokerage, all this stuff is already done for you. So instead of you having to spend, I mean, for any real estate agent to put together a 14-page seller guide, like a seller magazine, any agent, that would probably take you a day's worth of work, just writing all the content and making it beautiful. We've already done all that. Your part is to spend a half an hour reading through it, putting your photo on it, your contact information, making sure that your it matches whatever type of fiduciary capacity that you're promising. But we've literally done all of the work for you. Let's see. All right. We also have wonderful listing presentations. So we have a listing presentation and buyer presentations. So a couple things I want to show you. Oh, I like these two. These are like Monopoly flyers. So this Monopoly board flyer, we have one for buyers and one for sellers, but basically it's a one-page flyer which you would customize to yourself. And it goes through the process of, this one's buying. So this one would go through the buying process, and you would put this into your buyer package. And we have the same exact one with the seller process, and you would put that into your seller package. This trusted vendor list is really important too. Because one of the things I'll show you later, we have our growth system. It's called Algorwin. It's a growth system, step-by-step instructions to building a successful real estate business where you close 30 transactions per year. But one of the pieces to that system is building a trusted vendor program, especially if you're an agent that has no database. The fastest way to build a database is to piggyback on other people who have databases, which is business owners. So everybody should have this trusted vendor list, and trusted vendors is not only your vendors in the like mortgage, closing company, home inspectors, stuff like that, but also people you would refer to your clients, landscapers, roofers, handymen, painters, movers, etc. So we have a whole program that focuses on how to leverage vendor partners to build a significant business. We also have a guide to real estate investing. So if you are focused more on investors, we have a program or a booklet that focuses on that. I do want to go through and find our okay. Here's the buyer presentation. I want to just spend 3 minutes on this. So up until August of last year, it is my opinion that most real estate agents had a really good listing presentation, because when you go on a listing, you're asking a seller to commit to you, usually for a long period of time. You're asking them to sign a contract that commits them to you for, say, 6 months. And so in order to make a seller feel very comfortable committing to you for that long, typically you have to show up and show value. Now, as far as buyer presentations, It is my opinion that most real estate agents up until August of last year had no buyer presentation. They would get a call, somebody wants to go look at a house, and they would just start showing houses and didn't worry about a presentation. Well, now in all the states, it is mandatory that you have a document signed getting the consumer to commit to you, even if it's just for one house. So we have to show our value to the buyers just like we do with sellers. So we created this wonderful buyer presentation. It's like in PowerPoint format within Canva. So you can present it on a computer. It's 48 slides. So the idea behind this is most of our agents would use this, customize it in Canva. And when you go on a buyer appointment, you would bring your laptop or invite them into the office, bring your laptop and show your presentation. You would put the computer into presentation mode, and walk the buyer through all the things you're going to do, because at the end of the presentation, you're going to ask them to commit to you, to sign a contract with you. So we wanted to make a fantastic buyer presentation that would make a consumer feel like, okay, I got a really good agent. So this has a place that you can customize with all of your information. And then it goes through the 10-step buying process from, I'm going to make this a little bigger so you guys can see it a little better. So it goes through evaluation, consultation, representation. Do I need a real estate agent? So we have embedded into this all the objections that somebody might have about hiring somebody or signing an agreement, and we've embedded the answers into this. One of the things we say when we're teaching our Algorithm growth system, which is the system we use to get agents to 30 transactions a year. One of the things we constantly say is that success in our industry mandates that you have a checklist manifesto. That means that for all the things that matter in your business, you have a checklist. And that enables you to constantly tweak the checklist so that you're covering all the important things and you can improve upon it over time. Your listing presentation and your buyer presentation are checklist manifestos. So this is a buyer presentation, and what we're thinking about is what are the pieces that a buyer would care about? What are they worried about? And how can I make them feel super comfortable signing an agreement with me? And we've addressed that through this buyer presentation. So we specifically address the buyer contract. We say, here's what your realtor agrees to. Here's what you agree to. By the way, we have a Florida version and a New England version, only because it's different levels of fiduciary promising that we're making. And then we say, stick a copy of the contract right into the presentation. Like just clip it into the presentation. Then it talks about, hey, by the way, we're going to ask the seller to subsidize your buyer agent fee. So right in this slide deck, we are right from the very beginning addressing the compensation piece of it, so we can move on to other stuff. Why do we put that up front, by the way? That is because it's the one thing the buyer's probably thinking about. We just want to get it out of the way so it's no longer on their mind. They can go concentrate thinking on all the other things that are important for finding the home that they want. So we just want to get it out of the way. It's right in the first step of the buyer presentation. We talk about it. Now we can move on to the fun stuff, determining a comfortable price range, evaluating mortgage options, shopping for a mortgage, pre-approval versus pre-qualification, what is mortgage insurance. Next we talk about how to evaluate the communities that they're interested in. Step 4, how to shop for a home. Now, this is all very important because this buyer presentation, just like our listing presentations, are a checklist manifesto. We want to make sure we're educating the consumer so that they know how to shop for a house. Well, one of the things we include in our buyer presentation, our checklist manifesto for buying, is we want to make sure the consumer knows how to shop for real estate. And we want to let them know, do not go to Zillow to shop for real estate. If you do not have a slide about Zillow in your buyer presentation, then I promise you, you are losing business to Zillow. Because what happens is most real estate agents are using MLS for their search. So when they have a new buyer, they're going to their MLS and putting the customer into a property search. Most MLSs don't have a great property search. So they are getting a lousy search. They're getting like an email every day of a list of properties to go look at. And it's a lousy search. So the consumer then goes to Zillow because they want to see real estate. All they want to do is look at pictures of real estate because they are looking to buy a house, and Zillow has lots of real estate. Well, we don't want our consumers going there. So that means that we have to educate the buyer as to why Zillow is a really bad place to shop for real estate. Number one, it is not a real-time search. So we say the number one reason you do not want to be looking at Zillow is because you're going to fall in love with a house that went under contract with somebody else 10 days ago. So don't go to Zillow. Number two, you cannot narrow your search. Zillow in most marketplaces, you can only narrow in $50,000 search criteria. Why? Because Zillow's not in the market of trying to find a house for the consumer. They don't care. They're in the business of building a database of names and email addresses, and they're in the business of selling those names and email addresses to real estate and mortgage professionals. So we need to let our consumer know that. Next, consumers think they're contacting a listing agent, which we know is not true. For sellers, we need to make sure they know that the Zestimates are not even accurate. And most importantly, we want to let our buyer know the reason why you don't want to be on Zillow is because you're going to get inundated with sales calls. So we want to have this slide. This is part of our checklist manifesto this is one of the ways that we potentially lose business is a consumer going down the yellow brick road to Zillow because they look at a property and then they're contacted by another agent and then poof, they're gone. So let's talk about it right in our presentation. By the way, you should have a better search platform than what your MLS provides if your MLS has a lousy search platform. At LAER, our preference is Real Scout. Real Scout is a phenomenal search platform that is better than Zillow. It basically, you become your own Zillow. And so you're not losing a consumer who's going off to find another website to look at real estate. The next place we want to educate our consumers is what do you do if you're at an open house? Like if you're at an open house, number one, make sure you let the real estate agent know you're under contract with another agent. So we also need to let our consumer know. That's why we've built it into our checklist. Doesn't look like a checklist, but this buyer presentation, just like your listing presentation, is a checklist. So we want to build into the presentation, what do we do with off-market properties? So we're going to tell the buyer, hey, we're going to be under contract. So even if you see a property that has a for sale by owner, grab the number and give me a call. I'll reach out to the property owner on that property. Step 5, property due diligence. Some of the stuff that you're going to do to make sure, maybe running a CMA, checking with the town to see if permits have been pulled, things like that. Step 6, pricing and offer strategy, what to do if there's a bidding war, information on writing an offer. what to do if your offer is rejected, what to do if your offer is accepted. Step 8 is the inspection process. You can talk about all the different types of inspections that are available for a property. What happens if the inspector says there's a million repairs? Let's have these conversations in advance instead of waiting until they actually do the inspection. Talking about home warranties and appraisal and mortgage conditions. What is an appraisal? Preventing mortgage declines. Again, let's build it right into the buyer presentation, letting the consumer know, like, hey, don't go buy a car. Don't go buy furniture, even if there's no payment for 3 years, because it's still on your credit report and it acts as a debt when you're getting mortgage qualified. Do not co-sign on a student loan for anybody. Don't move money between accounts. Do not change jobs. Do not quit jobs. Do not get into a dispute with a bill collector and choose not to pay the bill. These are all the things that can prevent you from closing on your house. So, and then step 10 is closing and talking about what happens at the closing and the closing documents, etc. So that's just one, that's our buyer presentation. And again, as you get to the very end, there's a place for you to once again customize it again. So we have customization at the beginning and customization at the end. So best way to go check out all these items is bookmark LAERagentservices.com. We're only on the first button at LAER Agent Services. Let me talk about a couple things, because we said today, knowledge is not power, execution is power. We don't want you coming to a 3-hour Zoom class and walking away and doing nothing with the information. The goal is to come to a 3-hour Zoom class that is chock full of amazing information. Write down 5 items that you're going to execute on. Go execute on the 5 items. And then come back and watch the rerun and write down 5 more items. So what are some of the things that, in my opinion, you must have to run a successful real estate business? Number 1, you need a buyer presentation. So if you do not have a buyer presentation, that needs to be at the top of your list for things that you're going to go execute on. The good news is it's not going to take you an entire day to build your presentation, because we created it. You're going to go open the template and you're going to spend a half an hour customizing it to you. And now you have a beautiful presentation. So you need a buyer presentation. You need a listing presentation. We have that too. Again, that's a half an hour's worth of work for you. You also need a buyer guide, a seller guide, and an investor guide. All 3 of those: buyer guide, seller guide, investor guide. All 3 of them we've already created for you, just at that link I just showed you. So I tell our agents, as part of the Algorand growth system class, one of the things we have our agents do is create your packages, your buyer package, your seller package, and your investor package, and print out like 10 of each. I think you should have a big Tupperware box that you keep in your car, and that you have like 10 buyer presentations, 10 seller presentations, and 10 investor presentations. Some agents say, no, I'll wait until I have an appointment. You should wake up every day and act like you have appointments, because then when you're ready to do business, you put out energy to the universe that you're ready for business. And I promise you, if you have those in your car in a Tupperware bin, your packages are all done and printed, you will find opportunities every day to give them out to people. You'll talk to somebody at Starbucks and you'll hear that, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. You say, I'll be right back. I'm going to go get my package for you. So that when you're actually ready, you have all my contact information. So be ready for business and tell the universe that you're ready for business. Have your packages, buyer, seller, investor packages all together. So those are the three things that I would say are absolutely mandatory. And everything you need to build your packages is right within what I just showed you. You just have to go customize them. Let's go through a few other pieces really quick under the same section, marketing, branding, and presentations. First, there's a little button here for NAR settlement resources. Many of you guys have done transactions by this point since August, but here we have a few things. Number one, when all the changes took place, we actually wrote our own book that we showed all the form changes for Mass, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Florida. So one of the things you'll find under here is our playbook to the new real estate forms, just a helpful book that kind of shows you for each state what the new forms look like and what the changes are. But more importantly, there's great content in here. So there's content in here about why buyers need buyer agents. And all this content is like articles from outside sources. So articles from like the New York Times, stuff like that, about why it's important for a buyer to be represented on their home purchase. As well, we grabbed information from different resources about why sellers should be willing to pay a buyer agent. So instead of you saying that a seller should be paying a buyer agent, or at least be willing to pay a buyer agent because it exposes their property to a greater number of buyers, that you have documents that you can include in your packages from other sources that say that. So there's all kinds of resources here specifically geared towards the changes in the industry that have happened since August. Next is the social media assistant. So one of the things that we've changed at LAER just a little bit, this is our first month doing it, is up until last month, every week we would send our agents all their social media pieces for weekly. So every Monday, our agents would get a text of all the social media pieces for the week. We're trying to lower the number of communications that go out to agents because we know you guys get inundated with a million emails and text messages. So we're now doing that monthly. So on the first of each month, which was yesterday, all our agents got a text with all their social media pieces for the month. So we have our monthly social media for May with all the posts for agents to make for the month. But also we're building out a social media library in general with like holidays posts, mindset posts, Facebook covers, keys to buying and selling. So that number one, if you're a LAER agent, you'll get your notification once a month of all the new pieces that just came out for the month of May, for example. But also we're going to have just keep a massive library here of all the different posts so that you can just come here whenever you want and say, hey, I'm looking for keys to buying a house so I could post it to social media. Or there's upcoming holidays. I want to see what posts we have so that you don't have to wait till the first of the month to see what next month's content is. Many of our agents use the Canva Pro. I talked about the reason we love Canva Pro, which is the $15 per month version, is because it has like 10 million stock images. But a lot of agents love it because they schedule out their social media. You can program out your social media. So this is a little bit different than it looks just a month ago. Just some upgrades to the way we're delivering our marketing pieces, etc. at LAER. If you're a LAER agent and you need any special marketing requests, we have a button right here. So you need an advertisement created for you or a magazine ad or anything. We're happy to create it for you. We also have a section here of open house resources. Couple things I wanted to note about the open house resources. First of all, we have a whole bunch of different sign-in sheets that we keep here for you. So if you want some cool different ideas for sign-in sheets, also little signs for the house when you're doing an open house, like a welcome sign, or you might want little signs to highlight certain features of the house. And then also some agents like to give out gifts at their open house. So we have like little pop-by tags. These ones are for microwave popcorn that you can just print out these little tags and put them on microwave popcorn as a little gift. And all it says is, thanks for popping by the open house. And you put your name, your contact information, etc. And then down at the bottom, this is most important, is we always say, and we have this in our Algorand growth system workbook, when you are doing an open house, you should have a little section, a little area, like even if it's the kitchen table for the kids. So like coloring, word search, design your own for sale signs. So we have all that here. You can customize this so that you could create a little kids area at your open house. And then I'm going to come back in a minute to signs, apparel, and marketing. We'll wait 1 second on that. If you're a LAER agent, we have a button here for logos and images. We also have a button here for seasonal pop-by tags. So one of the pieces of our Algorand growth system, which I'll get to in a little while, is that we have, as part of your checklist, each month and each week, you're going out and visiting people. And we just say, I think it's 5 people a week we recommend that you go out and visit, and always go with an item of value. So we've created all these different little items, like little tags that you could put on to your pop-bys. So for example, like maybe sunscreen. If you have like a little sunscreen that you're bringing as your pop-by gift, we created these tags. So it says, I've got you covered. Call me for all of your real estate needs, stuff like that. And let's see. Listing description, these two are really important as well. The listing description generator and the agent bio generator. The listing description generator, some of you guys go on to like ChatGPT and create a listing description for your new listing. ChatGPT can be a little bit clunky, so we created our own listing description generator. Anybody can use this. You don't have to be a LAER agent, but basically it's a form you fill out, you put in your email address, and immediately after you fill this out, the system writes you a listing description for your new listing, and it emails it to you, so that you can go through it, cut and paste it, and put it into your listing description. One caveat I always tell people is make sure that you read it, because ChatGPT, I've caught it making little mistakes around fair housing laws. So you got to go through it just really fast to make sure it doesn't say like walking distance to a park, which can be considered a fair housing violation. So make sure you read whatever the listing description creates, because it is AI generated. So you just want to make sure you're protecting yourself. We also have an agent bio generator. One of the first things we teach with our Algorand growth system is we have a yearly checklist of 12 items that you have to do once a year to build your business. And one of the items we tell you is to Google yourself. because that's the first thing most consumers are going to do when they're introduced to you. So go Google you and decide, would you hire you if you saw what you see on Google? And the reason I say that is because so many real estate agents have outdated professional photographs of themselves and really boring and lousy bios. Like, if you think about it, we're applying for a job every time we go in front of a customer. And if you were going to apply for a job at a corporate headquarters, you would show up looking good and with a nice resume. Well, that's what we have to do online as well. So this agent bio generator, you just fill out and it will write a bio for you. It doesn't go to us. So if you're a LAER agent and you're creating the agent bio generator here, if you want us to update your website or the LAER website with your new bio, you have to email it to happyagent@laerrealty.com because we don't see it. It goes directly to you. But also, if you're an outside agent, you can use this to write your own bio. One of the things we remind you as part of the Algorithm program, when you Google you, many of the big companies like Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes.com, they have a bio for you. So they have a professional photo of you from when you started in real estate and a bio. So usually one of those, at least one of those bios, if you Google your name in real estate, probably on the first page of the Google search, you're going to see, for example, your Realtor.com bio page. Yes, everybody has one. Same with Zillow. You have a Zillow bio page and a Homes.com bio page. All of them allow you to go in and create an account so you could claim your bio and make changes to it. And you should, only because it's going to show up on the first page of a Google search. Almost always Realtor.com is going to be on the first page of a Google search, your bio page. So if you put your name and Realtor, on the first page of that Google search is going to be your Realtor.com bio page. You should go in and update it. If you don't know how to do that, Google it. If you Google instructions, you don't have to pay to go in to update your bio. But the reason this is so important is because this is what a consumer is going to do when they get referred to you. So you want to look like a rock star. You want to look like you are a professional real estate agent, that you're not fly by night. You don't want it to have like your old real estate brokerage from 5 years ago on there. You don't want it to have a really old bio, a really old photo. You want wherever the consumer, whatever shows up on that first page of a Google search, you want it to look amazing. So that's why that's so important. One last piece I want to show, our company does write a monthly newsletter called the LAER Report. This is a paper newsletter. So there's two different types of newsletters for real estate agents. There is a email newsletter that goes out to your consumers and a print newsletter that you could leave at like a pizza shop or mail out to people. This is the print version. So it's called the LAER Report. We put this out once a month. This is the May version. So if you open this, it's a 4-page newsletter. There's two versions. You can either do 8.5 by 11 paper, which is 4 pages, and you have to staple it, or a lot of our agents do 11 by 17 paper, and that prints on a big piece, and then you can fold it. Anyways, when you open it, you'll see these big red circles. That means you have to go in and change stuff on the document to personalize it. But you can actually go in and personalize anything. So for example, you can cut out like an entire article and put your own article in. The way that some agents use this is when you're building your vendor partnerships, you can go in and write an article about your featured vendor. Or let's just say you mail these to your entire database once a month and your mortgage partner pays for half of your mailing. You could go create an advertisement within the newsletter once a month of your mortgage partner. So this is all meant for consumers. It's got like gardening tips. This one, as you could see, has like a little Mother's Day section, and it's really just for keep in touch campaigns. So we got through most of the marketing stuff, but not quite all of it. I'm going to take a break for a couple minutes because I want to introduce to you Craig Foley, who is our Chief Sustainability Officer. He's going to tell you some of the stuff that's happening on when it comes to sustainability resources and focusing on sustainability in your business.
Yeah, thanks, Stacey. I appreciate it. Yes, so I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer for LAER Realty Partners, as Stacey said. And you know, what does that mean for us as agents working at LAER? I get calls probably 2 times a week. In fact, I'm going over a document right now that one of our agents sent me, a power purchase agreement for a solar listing on a home that she's going to be putting on the market in the next couple of weeks. So I get this is probably the most frequent call that I get in my role, is helping agents understand how to deal with solar panels, solar PV, photovoltaics on a rooftop, on land that's owned in the real estate transaction. And you know, in many instances, when the property owner owns the system, it actually does add contributory value to the listing for the remaining life. 25 years is considered the useful life of the solar PV system on a home. So if, for instance, you're listing a home when the homeowner owns the system and conveying that system to the new buyer, you could be leaving money on the table for the seller, which is, you know, the most egregious thing we can do as listing agents. It's, you know, it's not just about comps anymore with these homes with high performance assets like solar PV. We use an income approach, for instance, to be able to add contributory value on top of those comps that may lead to a list price that's different from what your comps just say. I'm going to take you to the LAER Agent Services Guide as well, and just highlight a few things. So if you scroll down, and again, there's a sustainability house in our agent toolbox. I'm going to just click on that for you for a second. And you can see that there are assets here that, again, you can use. You know, you don't have to be a LAER agent to log on here and be able to look at and use the materials that we have set up here. But one of the assets that if you're listing a home with significant high performance improvements, you know, I often hear many times agents say in classes that I teach, oh, well, that's all great, but the appraiser doesn't recognize this stuff. And that is actually inaccurate. So there's a list of appraisers out there in each state that have gone through the valuation of sustainable buildings program that the Appraisal Institute offers. It's a very rigorous course set for appraisers to get that accreditation at the end of their title. Valuation of Sustainable Buildings Appraiser. One of the things that they need from a listing agent that's trained, that's knowledgeable and competent in this stuff, is the green appraisal addendum. So if you click on this, it will take you to that addendum. It's a 5-page addendum that's an addition to the URA, or the Uniform Residential Appraisal Report, that a qualified appraiser, an appraiser that's gone through that valuation of sustainable buildings, would use the information that is in that appraisal addendum to make a case to the bank underwriter for the additional contributory value of the home. So, you know, my feeling is every real estate team in the United States of America at this point needs a green designated agent on their team. This stuff is happening fast and furious. It's a different valuation and marketing proposal for these homes with these high performance green features on them. And you need someone on your team that is knowledgeable and competent. You know, Article 11 of our Code of Ethics, if you're a realtor, talks about competence and knowledge in listing certain types of homes. And the homes with these significant high performance home improvements are a big part of this. You'll see we have a script here for realtors on answering questions about climate risk, which are coming up more and more. I'm going to just take you right now. I'm going to show you an example of this that we're seeing, and I'll throw this in the chat as well. This is a piece that Zillow wrote, one of the authors from Zillow, on the information that is in every active listing now in the United States. When you go to Zillow and you're looking for active listings, which, you know, let's face it, many buyers are going to that first. They have a climate risk evaluation for the home buyer. And I'll throw this in the chat just so you can take a look at this on your own. Let's see if I get this in there. There you go. That buyers are using. So Zillow entered into an agreement with a company called First Street Foundation. They have a tool that you can find at riskfactor.com, which is where this goes to. But Zillow has entered into a licensing agreement with First Street Foundation to give buyers this kind of information. And this piece that I put in that from Zillow is an explanation for buyers about why and how to use that information that's available. So if you don't think that this is on buyers' minds out there, you're just wrong. I mean, people are thinking about this, whether it's in Florida, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maine, New Hampshire. Buyers are worried and thinking forward about potential risk on a home. What's particularly interesting about this as well is it's not just, pulling from a FEMA flood map, right? This is actually looking forward using predictive analytics 15 and 30 years forward into the future, using some of the latest predictive analytics that are out there about the potential risk on a home. So if you're listing a home, for gosh sakes, please go to riskfactor.com and take a look at the potential risk factors that are going to pop up when buyers click on Zillow to take a look at this. So you're aware of how to deal with any kind of questions that pop up about this. And I certainly recommend you taking a look at this article that Zillow has produced. Again, it's a guide for home buyers about these tools. So it's really important as a listing agent or a buyer's agent, you're aware of these tools as well. And again, this particular piece, riskfactor.com, uses predictive analytics. There's another tool called climaterisk.com that does the same kind of thing. It goes down to the parcel level, uses predictive analytics to look forward in time to look at potential risks for buyers. ClimateCheck.com is created, the CEO of that company is Cal Inman, and you may know the Inman name if you've been involved in real estate for any amount of time. Cal is Brad Inman's son that owns Inman Real Estate, a well-known real estate rag in our business. So this stuff about risk is definitely there. It's definitely a worry for buyers out there in the marketplace. I just want to go back here to the additional resources that we have in the Sustainability Toolkit. Pearl certification is one of our great partners. This is particularly great if you have a homeowner that's done any of these high performance improvements on their home. Maybe they've gone to Mass Save in Massachusetts and done air sealing and insulation work. Maybe they've changed to heat pumps on their home, or they've added solar PV. This is a great asset and a great collaboration that we have with the Pearl certification team. So you can get that home Pearl certified, existing homes with significant green improvements on the home and be able to certify that for low cost, particularly if you are a green designated agent. There's an article here on the process of selling and valuing high performance homes. Here's a link to the Green Building Registry. I'm going to take you there just quickly. This pops up and can take you to any neighborhood in the United States, any city in the United States. I'm going to go to the city that I live in, Melrose, Massachusetts, just north of Boston. And you can see that there are 664 homes in my little city of Melrose out of the 6,000 homes that are available. So about 11% of the homes have significant green building improvements on the home. This stuff is evolving very quickly in the marketplace, and we want to make sure that you all are educated about this, right? I'm going to just scroll down a little bit on this map. This is the 2 condos that are in my house, 957 Main Street. But I'm going to go across the street here to the person that lives across from me and click on their green building improvement. Interesting. So 960 Main Street. You can see the address on here, has solar PV on the rooftop. And why is this important for Massachusetts real estate agents? Well, in MLS PIN, we have requirements. We have green data fields for solar PV on the data fields. And the 4 data fields that are in there is the year it was installed, who owns the system, in this case, the seller does, the size of the system, 6.08 kilowatt size system, and the annual production. Those are the 4 fields in the MLS PIN that when you're listing a home with solar PV, we want to make sure that those fields are listed accurately. And here's a third-party place where you can find those fields. Now, for us green designated agents, this is great because, look, I can look at my entire neighborhood here in Melrose and see who has green building improvements. And maybe I really want to engage with those homeowners because I'm a green designated agent. I know the valuation and marketing process for homes with these kinds of improvements. It's a great sphere of influence piece for you as well. So I just want to highlight some of the stuff that's out there in the marketplace, certainly, and included in our resource toolkit. As was mentioned already, Stacy mentioned this, we have seller and buyer presentations that are specifically for green designated agents. Now, maybe you only want to use a couple of these slides to add to your buyer agency slide deck that you're going to use. Easy enough to cut and paste and move them through on Canva as well. Maybe you want to start with this deck if you're a green designated agent and make sure that you've got the other resources that are on the standard decks that we have available for you. And again, I just want to reinforce this as well. Stacy's vision of this company is to be very open source, which is something I really love and appreciate about her. So even though we've got LAER branding all over these things on the Canva deck, if you work with another real estate company, you can remove that LAER branding, put your own company in there, and you're not going to have a LAER attorney knocking on your door saying, hey, you can't be using our stuff. We really open this up to the public completely, which I really appreciate about Stacy and kind of her business model. I'm going to just highlight a couple of other things here. Hopefully you can see on my screen now, I'm going to be teaching the green designation, the new iteration of the green designation. This is the first time it's being released by the Center for Real Estate Development. I'm on the design team for the new, for the green designation. We remodel it every 3 years. So this is the brand new green designation training that we're doing. It's going to be March 12th and 13th. So it's coming right up. It's a full 2-day class going from 11 o'clock our time to 6 o'clock in the evening. There's a lot of information that happens with the green designation. A lot of my students say it's like drinking from a fire hose because there's so much information in here. So the green designation isn't just a course for tree huggers, right? This is about, in-depth valuation and marketing practices for this rapidly expanding marketplace. And Stacy, one of the things that I want to highlight here is the fact that you're kind of all over the green designation training now, right? So you talk a lot about knowledge is not power, execution is power. So one of the things when we're rewriting this course, and I've experimented with, this is from an agent in North Carolina when I taught the course last September, I wanted to see how this would go. I wanted to give a tool, a spreadsheet for agents in the class to be able to turn the knowledge that they're getting in the green designation into executionable items. So I made an accountability checklist. And this agent from North Carolina, Susie Kane, did just a phenomenal job. She made it a little bit more nicer to look at, but the same general principles, right? You write down on the left-hand column what you've learned in the green designation, and you turn it into an event. Is this a one-time event? Is this a monthly event that you're going to send out marketing items that are in the green designation? Is this a yearly event? And this young woman, Susie Kane, this was after only Green Day 1, Stacy, by the day. This was because I asked everybody to show me, their accountability checklist at the end of the first day, at the beginning of the second day of class that they had done. One of the things was she had a Duke home energy assessment scheduled, the one in the yellow, by the end of the first day of class. And you can see her goal is to get to 8 buyer agreements signed and 4 listing agreements signed of high performance home listings, right? You can make this 12 and 6, you can make it 5, whatever you want to make it, right? It's your goals that you set up for yourself. But I did get a great email from Susie a couple months ago saying she had already reached her goals and she is following up on this accountability checklist religiously. So, again, a big focus of the new green designation training is turning the knowledge into executable items that you keep yourself accountable for. And it seems to really work, Stacy. Everything that you've been preaching to us for years and years and years about accountability has really, really worked. I'm going to end there. I am going to throw into the chat a couple of opportunities coming up, including the national one that I'm going to be teaching in the next couple of weeks here. I'm very honored that the Center for Real Estate Development asked me to teach this right out of the box. So I'm throwing that into the chat right now so you can get your green designation. This is happening, nationally via Zoom, so you can tune in via Zoom on that. And I'm also teaching it for the Greater Boston Association of Realtors in June 17th and 18th, if I remember correctly. And that's a live training, which I think is even better because you get to sit there with students in the class, ask questions, and have, and it's always a really, really interesting class. We get great students for that. So a couple of opportunities to get that green designation, which I just think is so darn important at this point now, Stace.
I 100% agree. That's why I'm going to say of the 5 things that you're going to go execute on, I already said a buyer presentation, a listing presentation, then your guides, your buyer, seller, investor guide. And 4, I feel like you have to have the green designation now, only because it has become part of everything that we do. And you really cannot properly represent somebody, especially a seller, but I'd also say buyers too. That's why I think it's important no matter what. But with sellers especially, that's why Craig constantly is helping people like dig themselves out of a hole, especially on like solar panel contracts, that all kinds of issues that can come up. But it's more than that. It is even knowing that property, if you have 2 houses right next to each other and one has solar panels that are owned, that property is going to be valued higher than the one directly next door that looks exactly the same. Little things like that. You don't want a client to find out 6 months after they've closed on a transaction that they should have gotten more for their property because it had sustainable features. And likewise, it's the other way around. You can find really great opportunities for your buyers and help educate buyers. It's very interesting. What's really important to note is that our business is so different than it was 20 years ago, in that we have to be long-term partners with our clients. Like, we have to be in front of them long after the transaction is closed, educating them on things they can do for energy efficiency and sustainability. It's very interesting because I own some real estate, and one of my mortgage companies on one of the properties I own is Mr. Cooper. And Mr. Cooper, which is now owned by Rocket Mortgage, which also owns Redfin. It has been a really interesting experience because it's a new, like, they market to try to sell my house constantly. And I said, you know, Craig, I've always said the biggest threat in our business is Zillow. They've moved down a couple notches.
Mhm.
The biggest threat in our business is mortgage companies and like the Rocket Mortgage, because they are in front of our customer every month, speaking to them. So every time I log in to pay my mortgage payment, it is, hey, did you know that your property is worth this much? Would you be interested in a CMA on your property? So it's really interesting that we have to get better at educating our client constantly, like reaching out and each month and saying, hey, did you know that you can get a review on the sustainable features of your home through MassSave, things like that. So I think it's like a must-have, the green designation.
Yeah. Kimberly put in the chat, so many properties in Maine using alternative energy sources. Absolutely. And not only that, but Maine has a goal that they've reached, that 150,000 of the 650,000 homes in the state now are using heat pumps, at least as a backup heating and cooling source for their homes. So there's a big heat pump movement in the state of Maine as well that's been pushing forward. So just, you may not see a home with heat pumps specifically in the green registry, the green building registry, but so that's not even complete what you're seeing in the green building registry. This is definitely part of the real estate process at this point. And like you said, I agree. Every agent needs their green designation at this point, or you should do the right thing and refer business out to agents that are specifically trained to deal with assets like this in the real estate transaction and know how they work, know how they operate, and speak that language so that buyers can ask questions and you can give answers for this stuff. Thanks.
100%. All right, awesome stuff. We have a lot to cover still. I'm going back to the dashboard, our LAER Agent Services dashboard. And let's see. All right, we're back at LAER Agent Services. I'm only going to spend 1 second here. Oh, I can see updates are happening. Somebody must be joining like right now because I could see our dashboard is changing as we speak. Okay, let's see. What I wanted to take you guys to is under signs, apparel, and print marketing. We're still under the marketing section. Under this section, I'm going to take you over to a presentation, but I wanted you to see where you can find the links to some of these. First of all, if you're a LAER agent, if you click on that link, you can find like ordering LAER signs, Markful for like ordering apparel, business cards, brochures. All these will take you right to the sites to order all the LAER stuff. But down at the bottom is where I really want to focus for a few minutes. All the links are here. So I'm going to take you over to another presentation. And this is almost the last piece on just the marketing and branding side of your business. And it's marketing, branding, and technology. But the links you'll find under LAER Agent Services. So these are some cool services that I think are game changing for your business. Many of them are set it and forget it systems. In your business, anytime you can find a set it and forget it system, you got to sign up for it. Because as your business grows, the only way to scale is to have systems in place where stuff is happening without you having to pull the trigger every single time. Now, up until I say you get to 30 transactions a year, a lot of the stuff you can do like one-offs, but a lot of this stuff just takes time and mental resources, and it's not worth putting your mental energy into designing like just listed, just sold postcards every month. So we're going to talk about a few different systems that I think are no-brainers for real estate agents that I would include in your top things that you're going to execute on. Number one, just listed, just sold postcards. I'm a huge fan of just listed, just sold postcards. I'm a fan of postcards in general because I think there's less competition. I could tell you there's less competition because I, for one, find it much easier to open my mailbox and read 6 pieces of mail. 2 of them might be advertising postcards. I find that easier than the 10 billion emails I get on a daily basis. Unfortunately, email has become so clogged and so crowded. Of course, I do think you should have an email campaign as well. So you're touching people on multiple fronts, but sometimes it's just easier to be heard through mail. So I'm a big fan of mail. MLS mailings is a system that hooks to your MLS. This is why I like MLS mailings, is it's set it and forget it. Basically, it hooks in, you log in, you put in your contact information, your photo, your logo, and then you hook it to your MLS. So you put your MLS ID and you tell the system, hey, every time I get a new listing, I want 100 just listed postcards to go out. And every time I sell a property, I want 100 just sold postcards to go out. And then the system just does it. The pricing is reasonable. So figure if you're doing small postcards, it's $96. If you're doing jumbo postcards, it's $127. And that includes the postage. And then you don't have to think about it. Your postcards, just listed, just sold postcards, just automatically go out. Number 2, tpmco.com. This is a game changer. Huge game changer, because the National Association of Realtors basically has done studies where consumers say that they liked their real estate agent so much they would use that real estate agent again if they bought a house. But in reality, most people don't use the same real estate agent again when they go to sell their house. And why is that? Because most real estate agents are not staying in touch with their clients. So after a closing, this is what this product is wonderful for, thepersonalmarketingco.com, TPMCO. This is a set it and forget it system that will send 21 mailings to anybody you put in the system for the next 5 years. So 21, it's a 5-year mailing campaign where the consumer will get, like, some of them are magazines, some of them are postcards, but the one thing they all have in common is your picture and your contact information. So even if in your business you're very busy, you're doing transactions, as soon as you do this transaction, you move over to the next transaction, but just put people into this. Put them, as soon as you close on a transaction, A, put them into your database, B, put them into TPMCO, And 3, do your just listed, just sold mailers. And now you're done. Now you can move on to your next transaction. That's your checklist manifesto for after closing, so that at least stuff is happening even if you don't do it. So for a one-time charge of $48, they stay in touch with your client for 5 years. So, this is just some interesting stats. This is the National Association of Realtors stat that says 89% of buyers would use their agent again or recommend their agent together to others. But in reality, only 11% of homeowners do use the same agent over again. Again, in my opinion, it's because we live in a world where if everybody knows 5 real estate agents, so you have to stay in touch with the person or they're just going to go somewhere else. So direct mail open rates are like 90%. That just means the consumer is always opening their mailbox. They're going to see what you sent. This is 21 pieces that the person gets over 5 years. By the way, just a caveat here, I don't get paid anything, just so you guys don't think that I'm trying to sell you something. I'm only telling you this because these are systems that can significantly impact your business in real estate, and we teach this through the Algorand program. It is these small little changes, little steps that compound over time that end up having a huge effect on business down the road. If you scan this, there's a form you can fill out, and the Personal Marketing Co. will send you sample pieces so you can evaluate their pieces. Number 3, I'm also a fan of Wise Pelican. Wise Pelican is also like mailers. So you could do mailers like free CMA mailers. Couple things that I like about Wise Pelican. First, I love the quality of their stuff. So their marketing pieces are super high quality. They're really beautiful. But I like a couple other things. Number 1, it lets you, if you're doing let's say a postcard for your new listing, it has this little load from MLS button. That means you just hit a button and it's just going to create the mailer for you. You don't have to go in and type anything. It's just going to pull your information from MLS and create a beautiful postcard in 2 seconds. The other piece I like about Wise Pelican is if you're a LAER agent, I think all of your postcards should bring people to your fellow landing page. But if you're not using Fellow, if you don't have a landing page for market analysis, then you should be bringing people to some sort of landing page. And Wise Pelican creates the landing page for you. So if you're an agent that does not have a landing page, you need to have a call to action in your mailing pieces so that you're capturing names and email addresses. They will create it for you. So it's all built into their system. By the way, you can get all your mailing lists through Wise Pelican. Wise Pelican, interestingly, doesn't like Every Door Direct because they think that they're less effective than actually having an address that you're sending to. So they do give you the opportunity to purchase mailing lists right from their site. Next, RSP USA is also a mailing company. This one I love for Florida, for all the homeowners associations, because you could do a mailer like a market update to a local homeowners. So Florida has thousands of homeowners associations. So you can just put in a street address and it will pull up this market report and send it to everybody in the neighborhood. The other piece I like about rspusa.com is if you're chasing or calling on expired listing, we've created some cool expired listing campaigns where the consumer gets a mailer every week for several weeks. If you are reaching out to expireds, in my opinion, I think you should show up at their house with a package. That's how I originally built my real estate business 25 years ago, was pulling a hot sheet every morning and going out, door knocking, showing up at somebody's house with a listing package, but also have something memorable for a campaign instead of one mailer. Set them up so that they get several mailers over a handful of weeks so that you remain top of mind. Next, big fan of Xiaomi. Within the LAER system, a lot of agents use each other for showing properties, etc. But Xiaomi is great if you need somebody to show a property or cover a home inspection. This is on-demand showing agents. The reason I love Xiaomi is because, first of all, if you're an agent that is struggling, that you don't have a ton of business right now, you can show up. You can sign up to be a Xiaomi agent, and that means that you get paid by other agents from all different brokerages to just go open a door for somebody. As well, it works the other way around. If you can't find somebody within your own firm to help you with showing a property, Xiaomi gives you access to real estate agents all over the place, where basically people you put out there and say, hey, I'm willing to pay $50 for somebody to go show this house. The next one is Exposio app, another favorite of mine. Although my true favorite is, I think every real estate agent, if you're listing a property, should only use professional photography. I mean, we're in the business of marketing real estate. So even if it's $100,000 mobile home, I think you should have professional photography, because every listing is an audition for your next customer. So you're always auditioning for your next transaction, and you do not want to have iPhone photos for a property. That being said, no matter what I say, many agents will use iPhone photos of their listing. If you must use an iPhone or Android photo of your listing, at least use Exposio. Basically, this is a platform that will take all of your photos of the property that you took with your phone, and it re-exposes them so it looks closer to professional photography. So I had a property 2 years ago that I sold, and it was a remodeled house that I flipped. And I tried both because I wanted to see which one. I wanted to see how close Exposio came to professional photography. This is what I'll tell you. Exposio, and by the way, they charge you $1 a photo. You can get it cheaper than that if you sign up for a subscription, which I didn't. I just paid for the photo. Basically, the way it works is if you take 50 photos of a listing with your phone, you upload them all into the app, and then it shows you all of them re-exposed, and then you pick the ones you want to buy, and then you can re-download those. So, and they're basically $1 a photo. Anyways, back to my property 2 years ago, I did professional photography, and I also went out and used my phone and took photos of the property and used the Exposio app. Exposio was way better than just a regular iPhone app. So it definitely improved the photo. That being said, I used the professional photos for listing the property because hands down, the professional photography was much better than the Exposio photography. Yellow Letters Complete is also a great resource for like handwritten notes. So let's just say for Mother's Day, you want to send a handwritten note to everybody in your database. Yellow Letters Complete is how you would do that. They have 2 different options. They have an AI handwritten note card that you can send. So this is great. Let's say you have 300 people you want to send a handwritten note to. You could upload your list to Yellow Letters Complete, send it to 300 with AI, and it's an AI penmanship. But they also have the option, if you actually want people to handwrite it, they have a whole team that will handwrite your cards. So again, just a way to leverage your time. We're also a huge fan of Markful. They have all kinds of branded stuff, branded signs, things like that. And then number 9 is homes.com. So I like homes.com mostly because the leads go to the listing agent, which is very different than the other platforms. So at a minimum, like I said about realtor.com and Zillow, every real estate agent gets a free basic membership to homes.com, Zillow.com, and realtor.com. All 3 of those, any of them can come up on the first page of a Google search. It depends what market area that somebody's searching in. So all 3 of them, you should update your bio page. But also, I've been encouraging real estate agents in some marketplaces to buy the upgraded membership to homes.com. Pricing is based on how many sales you did in the last 12 months. So the more business you do, the more expensive it is. But I love the fact that the list, all the leads go to the listing agent.
Hey, Stace,
Okay.
there's a question in the chat from Arena
Yep.
that is a good one. Which database app would you recommend for new real estate agents? Is there one in particular that a new agent should absolutely use?
So that's a great question. It depends what your goal is because there's a lot of them. One of the database that we have officially partnered with, we actually have 2 different databases that agents could choose from at LAER. One is Fellow. So Fellow is a cool database because basically what it does is you put all of your leads into Fellow, and anybody that owns a house, they will get every 2 weeks a home value report for their property. So every 2 weeks, it's like, hey, this is how much your home value is. Those are pretty effective because everybody's curious about what their home is worth. So we kind of love Fellow because a couple things. First of all, they make it clear that these are automated valuations. So the consumer gets a report and it says, here's 3 valuations of your property from 3 different sources. And it goes on to say, these are not a market analysis. If you want a true market analysis, you should contact your real estate agent, and it has a big button to contact your real estate agent. But what's also cool about Fellow is from the back end of Fellow, you can log in each week and it rates your whole database. And it says, hey, you have 300 people in your database right now, but these are the 3 that you should be paying attention to because these 3 are likely to sell their house this year. And it is all based on an algorithm of how long the person has owned the house, what their interest rate is, how much equity they have, and what buttons they're clicking on the site. So I've already seen Fellow turn into business for real estate agents because that's one of the challenges we have as realtors is you have a database and you've got 300 people or 500 people. How the heck do you figure out who to pay attention to? So what happens is we pay the same amount of attention to all of them. We set them on a drip campaign and we're paying the same amount of attention to all of them. Drip says, no, we're going to send stuff to all of them, and then we're going to tell you who to pay attention to. This is why I love Fellow. Now, the problem with Fellow is that if they don't own real estate, then it can't send them a home value report every 2 weeks. But that's why we also partner with Real Scout, because Real Scout, if they don't own real estate, they should be in your Real Scout database, and Real Scout's going to send them houses to look at on a weekly or a daily or as properties hit the market. The other database that we have is ISACT, so agents can choose between ISACT or Fellow. My favorite happens to be Fellow, but some agents prefer ISACT. ISACT is great if you just want to do a drip campaign. Like, hey, I want a newsletter to go out to everybody in my database on a monthly basis with gardening tips, stuff like that. So we do training on both, but it is a great question. One of the challenges of our business, Irina, is that there's a billion different databases to choose from. The best database is the one you're going to actually use. It's absolutely essential for building your business. And while some of them have millions of bells and whistles, doesn't matter if you're not going to use it. So I always say look for something that's as simple as possible so that you're constantly in front of your consumer. But and then you can upgrade over time and try other databases. Okay, I want to do a quick, Sergio, if you don't mind, we'll do like 5 minutes and then we have so much more to cover because I want to take you guys through the Algorand business growth system really quick. But I'm gonna have Sergio do like 3 to 5 minutes just showing LAER agents what our marketing resources look like, what you can expect on a regular basis for some of you who just recently joined the brokerage.
All right, thanks, Stacy. I'm going to share my screen. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, so real quick, I'm just going to go over a couple of programs that we have for our LAER agents. Now, everything that you see here, in Stacy's presentation is available to everyone, but in particular, these two next things are just for LAER agents. First, we have our LAER marketing bundle. So when you have a listing, when it goes live on the MLS, our team gets to work. We create this whole marketing bundle, which is a package that has everything you need to market your listing. So it includes a listing brochure as well as social media pieces that we send out to you via email. This is sent out to you as an email 24 hours after your listing going live on the MLS. These are all created in Canva. We give you both, the final pieces that you can use. We give you PDFs for your flyer and images, PNG images for your social media pieces, but we also give you Canva templates. So if you do have a price change down the line, or if you want to rearrange the photos, change some things, you're able to do so very easily using Canva. So let me give you a live demo of what that looks like. So you'll receive an email that looks just like this. You'll see 3 links. The first 2 links are Canva templates, and then the third link is to download your bundle. So this opens up in Google Drive. Now, as a LAER agent, a lot of you do have Google Workspace, so you're able to open it up on your own account. You don't need an account to download these from Google Drive, but it does help because you're able to save these folders and refer back to them later on. Like I said, we have a listing flyer that you can use. Again, you can print out this flyer directly from this view, but you can also download it. You can send it over to Staples to print out professionally. And then we have our social media pieces. Now, the social media pieces cover the whole transaction of your listing, from new listing all the way to sold. We include a couple of more pieces in here, a very simple open house sign-in sheet, just so you can have it. We have a coast-to-coast flyer and a Brightway flyer, as well as this LAER brochure. Now, again, you receive this email. We also give you Canva templates. So we have this brochure Canva template. As long as you're signed into Canva, you're able to go in and edit your template. Again, you need to be signed in. It's okay if you have the free account. We try to make it so you can use these, in particular the marketing bundles. We want to make sure that you can use them with the free account. Now, I made a copy of this so I can show you how easy it is. Let's say you have a price change down the line. You're able to just click in this box, make the change, and then you're ready. You can click on share, download. We'll download this as a print PDF that we can then send over to Staples and print professionally or print out at any of our offices. Changing the photos around is very easy. You just upload a new image from your computer. You can get the images directly from your photographer. Let me just grab some sample images here. And it's as easy as just dragging and dropping. All of these images fit into frames, so all you have to do is drag and drop the image. Let's say I want this bedroom picture to be in the middle. And just like that, I've been able to update my brochure. But we also have a link to social media pieces, also in Canva. Now, there are a couple of pieces. If you scroll down to the bottom, there are two pieces that we don't include just because we don't have that information yet. We have one for an open house that includes a date and time that you can very easily go in here, double click, and then put in the date and time. And then we have one for a new price. If you do have a price change down the line, we have a piece that you can use for that. Again, you make your edits, you can share, download. You can download this as a PNG. It'll actually suggest the recommended file type, but you can download this as any file type that you want. I also recommend downloading the Canva app on your phone because you have access to all of these designs on your phone, and then you can download these directly to your phone and post on social media. Canva itself also has ways of posting on social media directly. So if we click on share, click on see all, go down to social, we have all these different channels that you can post to. For example, a Facebook page. This is connected to our little sample Facebook page that we run. All you need to do is select the adequate page. So let's say we want to do a sold post. We just click on sold. We add a quick caption and then click on publish. Now, if you have the pro version of Canva, you can schedule it out. I don't think this one has that feature, but you can schedule it out, and then it allows you to see all of the posts in a calendar. So just very quickly, I'll show you what that looks like. Now, Canva tends to look different every time. They're always doing updates. That's also why I like doing these boot camps, because we're always updating things. Again, this is the content planner. You're able to schedule out your social media just by clicking on the plus. You can click on a recent design, or you can create a new template. That's a feature of Canva Pro. But again, for the marketing bundles, you are able to use all of these with the free version of Canva. Down here, you'll find some other resources, and one in particular is to order a 4-page brochure. You just fill out this form. It gives you the option of attaching images. We need at least 16 images for your brochure. It's a really nice 4-page brochure. It prints out on 11 by 17 paper, and we fold it in half. That's why we ask for at least 16 images. You can upload them directly, or you can give us a link. If your photographer sent you a link, you can cut and paste it in here and we'll access your photos. The 4-page brochure looks just like this. And again, you order it through there. Or if you're under in LAER Agent Services, if you want to order it ahead of time, if you go to Request Marketing Piece, that's where you can get it. Let me see if there's any. Okay, there we go. And then next, I wanted to cover some updates for our social media. We are now sending out monthly social media, right? So the first of the month, you'll receive 6 to 8 monthly social media pieces covering 4 weeks of content. They're sent out via email and text message, sort of the same way we were sending them out before. But these are a little more concentrated, right? And then we're also opening up this social media library. This can supplement these monthly social media posts. Our library has now grown to over 1,000 social media pieces, covering different things like for different content for buyers and sellers. We have holidays, Facebook covers, mindsets, and motivational quotes. We have a lot. So let me give you a demo of what that looks like. So our new email that we send out every month, again, covers the whole month. We have 4 weeks worth of content. We're still including the suggested captions, and you use these exactly as you would before. We have Canva templates, and then you can download these images by clicking on this download button. We also send out a text message, so you can view all of these on your phone, download them directly to your phone, and post on your phone, especially if you're using a program like Instagram. Now, up top, we also have a link to our social media library. These are categorized as different posts. Now, we have compiled, again, over 1,000 posts that you can search through. For example, we have our mindset and quotes. So this is very similar to our templates, where we have placed everything in here. We have 2 different links, one to just download the image directly. This will actually just download it to your computer. And if you're looking at this page on your phone, you click on download and it will download directly to your phone. But we're also including Canva templates. Again, you can go in, if you want to switch out the logo, if you work in a team, if you want to change maybe the background photo, you can do so. A great feature of this is that we have this search functionality. So if you're looking, these are mindset and motivational quotes. Maybe you're looking for something that's about, I don't know, gratitude. There we go. We have a lot of posts that you can use. Once you find one that you like, you can just click download. Now, for the other parts of the library, we have different options for searching. For example, we have our keys to buying and selling. You can still do a search, but we can also filter by type, by content type. So if you're looking for sustainability posts, you can just click on sustainability, and then you're able to look through all of these. We're still including the captions. And again, we have a download link and a Canva link. So you can sort through those as well. We have holiday posts too, and these are separated by month. So we have June coming up. You can just click on June, and then we have some holidays. These are past holidays. Again, this is sort of the library of everything that we have sent out throughout the years, and this is also constantly being updated. So, for example, we have our new May Mother's Day post and the Memorial Day post. This is all automatically added to our library. And you can also go back, to past years, and maybe if you want a different Memorial Day post, this one has just a different font that you can use. You can either download this directly, and again, we have access to that Canva template. So definitely check out our social media library. We have Facebook covers that you can use too. We can spend a lot of time going over it, but spend some time. Again, this is in conjunction of this monthly content. So we have fresh content every month that you get for the whole month. And then if you want to supplement it with more things, you can always go through our library. It's very easy to use. It's all searchable. And this is our new program. That's it for me.
All right, awesome stuff. So if you're a LAER agent, you'll see that we keep tweaking our marketing stuff to make it even better. This is the first month that we went from sending out the weekly social media pieces to just doing a monthly. And we write all the captions, everything, like everything is there for you. The second thing that we're working on, and you'll see a noticeable difference, is that when you get a new listing, we've always done all of your marketing pieces, but we noticed it was taking a little bit longer, like 2 or 3 days to get your marketing packages. You're going to start seeing those come out like within a couple hours of your new listing hitting the market, that you'll get your marketing packages. So we're kind of and we're doing some brand refreshes on some of our marketing pieces. So lots of exciting stuff happening when it comes to marketing at LAER. But let's get back. We still have 45 minutes or so, and we have so much stuff that I still want to cover because it's all game-changing stuff for your business. Okay, back to the LAER Agent Services site. Okay, we just finished the marketing section. So marketing, branding, presentations. You guys should have written down a bunch of stuff to go execute on after today's program. Here's my recommendations of stuff to execute on: a buyer presentation, a listing presentation, a buyer guide, seller guide, investor guide. We've created it all for you. This is no heavy lifting. Get your green designation. Sign up for MLSmailings.com. Sign up for TPMCO.com, the personal marketing code, so you're staying in touch with people after closing. Those are like the bare minimum of stuff you should have written down so far. Let's dig into agent growth and development now. So if you go down to agent growth and development, we have lots of different systems in here that you can check out. If you go to classes, meetings, and coaching, first of all, there's a lot of links here. You can see all of our upcoming training. So all week long, every week, we have live training by Zoom. If you want to see our training calendar, you can actually click that training calendar. You can print our training calendar as well. I also highly recommend that everybody here just subscribe to our YouTube station. It's youtube.com/LAER training. There is so much content on here because every time we do a class, we automatically then upload it to our YouTube station. So you'll never miss anything. If you subscribe to our YouTube, as soon as we upload anything, you'll just get a little ping on your phone that we just uploaded the newest class. One thing I'm really proud of, there's no fluff. There's no BS in our training. There's a lot of really bad training out in the real estate industry. Our stuff is good. Not a huge fan. I don't think you have to be great at cold calling and stuff like that. There's better ways of building a business, and we have it all laid out for you in our YouTube classes. Next, lots of stuff for you to explore here, but I want to take you over to our business plans and growth systems, because the one that I'm most proud of is our AlgoWin program. If you joined LAER recently, when you get your welcome box for joining LAER, we send you our AlgoWin book. It's a workbook. By the way, anybody here can download our AlgoWin growth system. We have written a system to get to 30 transactions a year, and it's all based on 7 simple checklists. So if you click on AlgoWin, the reason we named it that is because there is an algorithm to success in our business. If you do a certain input, if you input certain things into your business, you can expect a certain result. So if you follow the steps of the system, you can expect 30 transactions a year. So if you go to this link, first of all, you can scroll down and download the workbook. So download the workbook. And that is the same as the workbook that we send. If you're a LAER agent, you would have gotten this in the welcome gift that we send when you join, but you can actually download it here as well. It's a 100-page booklet with step-by-step instructions to building your business. It's based on 7 checklists. A checklist of 12 items you do once a year, a checklist of 9 items you do once a month, a checklist of 9 items you do once a week, and then a checklist for every buyer appointment, 9 items, a checklist for every seller appointment, 9 items, and a checklist for new listings and people appreciation events, which we're very big fans of. This system will get you to 30 transactions a year. By the way, if you go back, if we also have a coaching program that accompanies this, but first I would say if you have not done the Algorand system yet, download the booklet, go through the 12 classes, because we have 12 classes that accompany the workbook. Then once you're there, once you've done the 12 classes, we also have a coaching program if you need more one-on-one support with the program, so that if you need somebody to hold you super accountable to the system. But basically, it's a step-by-step system to building a successful real estate business with no fluff. It's all really great content. We also have 2 other forms of business planning materials. If you're looking to grow a system because you're not quite achieving your potential yet, then Algorand is the system you want to focus on. We have 2 other types of systems here. One is just a simple business plan. So like if you Google business plan for real estate, this is basically what this is. It's like a 45-page book that you print out. There's value in it. It's a traditional business plan for real estate agents. I think that this business plan is wonderful if you run a team. Get your team together and kind of do like a goal setting roundtable with your agents. We also have here what's called a simple plan. This is a 3rd type of growth system. Basically, this one is another program that we wrote a few years ago, because if you want to have massive results in your business, let's say, for example, you're producing about $2 million a year in real estate sales. Well, most likely you're going to do within a 10% variance of that every year, year after year, because you see yourself. Your internal compass says you're a $2 million producing agent. Well, what happens if that's not good enough for you? What if you want to be a $10 million producing agent? Then you have to become a different version of yourself. So we help you dissect who you are right now and who you need to become in order to get to a different level of success. So that's all under the simple plan system. And we also have a link here for continuing education classes, etc. Let's go down. I want to spend a few minutes on some of the other resources that I think are game changers for agents. I'm down at the agent toolbox section at laeragentservices.com. First of all, really important, we have a link here for agent safety. These are all LAER agent safety tools. First of all, we wrote our own little magazine on agent safety. It's just like a 16-page or 14-page magazine of how to stay safe in our business. Super important, because sometimes we're so focused on just building our business that we're not focused on making sure we are super safe. But also we've outlined all of the resources available to make sure you stay safe as well. So like I'm a huge fan of Invisaware, which is like cool little trinkets that you can keep on you that are like a personal alarm that notifies the police if there's any issue. So that's our agent safety. Craig showed you our sustainability section. So great content in there for sustainability. If you're a LAER agent, one of our goals is to always make sure you get paid very quickly when you have a closing. There's a button here for getting paid. That's just our internal check request system. So you have a deal that is closing or closing very soon, you fill out the check request. That notifies our bookkeeping department that somebody is going to be seeking a check. So, or you're seeking a check. But I want to spend some time on technology. So one of the things that when an agent joins any brokerage, one of the things they ask is, are there any monthly fees to be with your company? Because some companies have like super exorbitant fees to be a part of the company that you have to pay monthly. And our goal was to keep it so that the fees were like as low as we could possibly make them. So we have an optional $39 per month tech bundle. It's optional. So we don't mandate that everybody pays for our tech bundle, completely optional. The tech bundle comes with 3 products. One is Fellow, which I spoke about a little while ago. That's a CRM system that sends to everybody in your database. Every 2 weeks, it sends everybody in your database automated valuation report for their property, 3 different companies. So, and then it sorts your database. It helps you turn your database into gold. It is really magic because you have this database. So, but who are the people you should be spending time with? Who are the ones likely to sell in the next 12 months? That's what Fellow is for. By the way, if you click on this, like the Fellow layer, it'll take you over to our page where we have some classes on Fellow. Not only do we have our basics class if you just signed up for the Fellow platform, but also if you scroll down, we've done a training program with the CEO of Fellow with some advanced techniques to using the system to scrub out and find the best leads within your database. So, back to the Fellow. First of all, if you sign up, if you're a LAER agent and you sign up for the LAER Tech Bundle, you get all these products, Fellow, Boston Logic, and Real Scout for a total of $39 per month. That's the total investment into the LAER Tech Bundle. If you are with another company, I still recommend all 3 products. You'll just pay a little more for them. If you are outside of LAER and you sign up for Fellow, you'll be paying around $300 per month for that product. You'll pay about $39 a month for a Boston Logic website and $39 a month for Fellow. At LAER, because we have 800 real estate agents, we're able to subsidize some of that cost and get it down to one amount of $39 a month, and it covers all the products. So Fellow is the product for scrubbing your database and sending the value report to your sellers every 2 weeks. Boston Logic is an agent website, a beautiful agent website. So we want you to have a beautiful website that you don't have to spend a lot of time tinkering with. In fact, our team, we have a team, somebody in our marketing department, all she does is design beautiful websites for our agents. So as part of the $39 a month tech bundle, you get a beautiful agent website. And then the third part is Real Scout. Real Scout is a property search portal. When I was showing you the buyer presentation earlier, there was a slide within the buyer presentation that said why you should not use, why the buyer should not be shopping for a home on Zillow. And if you're not having that conversation with your buyers, I promise you, you're losing business to Zillow. So you have to be talking to the buyer about why they should not be at Zillow searching for real estate. But in that same vein, you have to give the buyer a great place to go search for real estate. And to me, that's Real Scout. Real Scout is like you being your own Zillow. It's a wonderful search platform. It nurtures the buyers that you put into it. So that's why you kind of, under this tech bundle, you have 2 different databases. Your Real Scout database, which is for your buyers to keep in touch and nurture them and show them all the real estate. And then you have the one for the sellers, which sends them every 2 weeks. Hey, this is what the values are looking like in your area. So with that, I am going to invite Ashley from our tools team to give us a little demo on our tech bundle.
Hello, thank you, Stacy. So before I start, if you are a LAER agent and you have the tech bundle, you need some extra one-on-one help, you have questions, you need help with Canva, Dotloop, you have an upcoming transaction, we have a link where you can go and you could schedule what we call a one-on-one 30-minute briefing. I did put the link for that form in the chat for anyone. So there, like I said, there's different stuff on there. So even if you have a question on, let's say, Real Scout on how to uh, question I get often is, how do I do rentals? Can I do rentals in Real Scout? Yes, you can. So if you're struggling with that, just fill out that form and we can schedule a call and I can show you how to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen for a little quick demo that I created for Real Scout. So it's just, I just want to move my little bar so everybody can see. There we go. Okay, so this is just a 10 quick step guide that I created. So the first thing I like to say, is there an app? Well, of course there's an app for everything nowadays. So there are two different versions of that app. There's an agent version. So for the agent side of the app, it's going to be a black background with a white house. It's also going to say Pro, and it's going to say Real Scout Agent Dashboard. The consumer side is going to be a white background with a black house, and it's going to say Real Scout Home Search. So if you're an agent and you download Real Scout Home Search and you're like, why isn't it letting me in? It's because you have the client side of the app and you want to make sure you get the agent side. The icons can look a little different depending upon your app store for the phone that you have. The unique sign up link. So there's a couple of different ways that you can market your Real Scout platform. So two of the ways is that they have unique links. So each link is unique to the agent. So the URL is the same, but the name will change. So there's a client search page. So you could use this if you want to self-generate leads on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, mailers. Landing pages. Real Scout has a landing page feature. So I need to go through and update this a little bit to add that in here. So there's one that you can use for clients to create their own search pages. The second one is search. And what's unique about this is that anytime anybody does anything in your Real Scout account, you have what's called a live feed in your on your dashboard, and you can see all of the activity that clients and prospective clients have done, or any houses that they've looked at, what they've rated them. Another common question is, I have more than one real estate license. So for example, New Hampshire and Mass, Maine and New Hampshire. How can I connect both MLSs to Real Scout? Not a problem, easy to do. So the way to differentiate which MLS you're going to be searching is, once you create your client search, or you start creating the alert for your client after you input their email information, their name, etc., it's going to ask for the data feed / property class. So you would click on this drop down arrow right here. So cross MLS means that it's going to search across all the MLSs that are associated with your Real Scout account. Now, you don't need to worry about this if you only have one real estate license and it's linked to your Real Scout account. It's only going to show that one MLS. So the cross MLS search is only going to show if you have more than one real estate license or MLS linked with your Real Scout. So this is a little bit of what the drop down looks like. So you have your MLS pin. So for Prime MLS, they break it down into the category. They don't just lump it down like they do with MLS pin. And then main listing is the same thing. It's just one. It's not broken out into categories like Prime MLS for New Hampshire. There are two different ways that you can add a client. So you can add them manually one by one. So you would click Add Contacts in the top right corner. You would click Create Client. You would add their email, their first name, last name. I like to do their first name and their last name, just in case I have a couple of clients that have the same first name. I don't want to mix up the client searches when I'm talking to them. You can tag them as a buyer, a seller, buyer and seller, or other. You can also do these two optional fields, their phone number and their source. So it would be if it's SOI, if it's a realtor.com lead, if it's a Veterans United, if it's, I don't know what else is out there, Boomtown or something like that. So you could put where the lead came from. Next will be your search field. So you would just go through, fill out the criteria. And as you go down the criteria fields, your results up here will go down. So it's always going to start off with 10,000 plus results. So once you start entering the criteria, that number is going to go down. So don't fret if all of a sudden you go from 10,000 to 500. It's because it's filtering out the criteria that you're inputting. So once you have all of the criteria in there, you're going to save it to the client. So you would select the client name, you would name the search, and then you would do the alert schedule. So you could do it daily, you could do it afternoon, you could do it in the morning, you could do it ASAP, you could do it handpicked. I always do mine ASAP. So as soon as a property hits, an email goes out to your client, and you can also check a box that says send email to myself. So if you're on the road all the time on like a Saturday or Sunday showing or doing open houses, etc., you will still get the notification that they've been matched to a property in your email, and you're going to be able to see all the details, all the photos, etc., in a much easier to read format than in MLS. As I mentioned before, if you have a CSV file, you can go ahead and upload your CSV file into Real Scout. So you would go over to the left navigation panel, you would click on contacts. Once you click on contacts, there's a little button to the right that says import contacts. You would click on that, and then you would select your CSV file to upload. Real Scout, something I really like about Real Scout is that it has 5 unique ways to search. So you can draw your own outline. You can draw a polygon, you could draw a rectangle, you could do a radius. So if you had somebody, let's say somebody who needed to be within 20 miles of a hospital, for example, you could do that radius. So you could center it from approximately where the hospital is in the town, and then you could go out the 20 miles to that. If you do draw a shape of your own, your first point and your last point will need to connect. So you would do 1, 2, 3, 4. Your fourth or fifth, how many of our points you do, always has to be connected back to that first point to close the shape. If you do not do that, your shape will not close, and you will not have a search in that shape that you created until you close those points. Another unique feature is that you can search by a school district or a particular school name. You can also search by zip codes, counties, condo association, subdevelopment, or a development name if you have a particular client. Updating your clients is super easy. You click on the left navigation panel, you click on contacts. Your contacts will come up. You will click on the contact that you want to update their search criteria. So you would click on the name. Once this alert page comes up, you would click on the edit button underneath the alert. So if you have a market activity alert, you would click view/edit. If it's a listing alert, you would click edit under there. Once you click edit, it's going to come up to the page that shows all of the listings that match their search. You would then click edit filters. Once you click edit filters, it will bring you back to the main criteria page when you first set them up. You would just go through and update any property, or not any property, any criteria that they wanted to be updated for their property search. You would have to click save, always click save. And then it's going to ask you, do you want to send any unsent listings? You can say yes or no. So if you want to go through them before you send them, you can click do not send. And then you could go through them, and then you could check them off and click send, and it would send them to those clients. Auto nurture is a great feature. So if you have a client with, not a lot of matches, but they're looking at 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom homes, but you've set them up on 3-bedroom, 1-bath houses. Real Scout's auto nurture feature will start to send them 2-bed, 1-bath houses as well, because that's what they've been looking at. So if there's no relevant criteria, it'll create a drip campaign for them based on the relevant properties that they're looking at within the database. The next thing that I like is a monthly activity report or a heat index map. So this just shows your clients, buyers or sellers, how many buyers have been active within their area or their specific neighborhood within a given amount of time. This data is just pulled from Real Scout. It doesn't take into account any data from MLS. So you would put in the town that you wanted, you would put in a minimum price and a maximum price, you would click it, preview market activity, then it's gonna come up with a map for the specific area that you did. It's gonna show the number of active buyers and the number of buyer interactions within the specific shape. So you could do a whole town, or you could do a specific area in a town by drawing your own shape. You can do 180 days, 90 days, 60 days, 30 days. And if your clients want more data, you can go back 365 days. And it will also break it out into a graph that shows how many buyers were active per week or per day, depending upon how far back you go. It's also going to show you the top viewed listings and anything that was recently listed and recently sold. So I use this when I'm writing an offer, because if a property that I am writing an offer for my clients is a top viewed property on Real Scout, I'm gonna maybe structure the offer a little differently. I might call the lender and say, hey, this is a really hot property. Is there any way that you could close in 21 days instead of 30 days? If they can say, hey, we can do it in 21, then I'll put a 21-day close, right? So it's all about using this as a way to structure your offers a little differently to make the offer more attractive to the seller. On the flip side, when I go to a listing appointment, I might have a seller who's up here in price, but my market analysis is down here for price, but I know from talking to them, they might not budge on price. I'll use this same report and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, this is what's going on in your neighborhood. This is everything that's recently listed. That's a top viewed property that is similar features, similar square footage to your house. And it's listed here. So this is really why I think we should list here versus here. So you can use it when you go to listing appointments as well to bring your sellers down to where fair market value is stating that their house should be listed at. Why is Real Scout better? Above average search experience for your clients. It's also more interactive between the client and the agent. New property alerts when new properties hit the market. The property search emails are filled with photos. You can they can rate certain features, certain amenities about the products or property, thumbs up or thumbs down. It's not just they like the property or they don't like it. It's what they like and what they don't like about the property itself. There's also an app, of course, that you can track your clients. And it also integrates with major real estate lead platforms. And then the last part that I have on here is, as Stacy mentioned earlier, if you're not talking about Zillow and why your clients should not be on Zillow, this is a great page that you can use and you can print. It's just to keep them off, because we know Zillow is only there to buy their stuff, sell their information. It's not accurate. And as Stacy said earlier, the search features are minimal. You can't do a search feature or search for price unless you do it in a large increment. So your clients are missing out on potentially a lot of properties. So I just have that in here as well. That's everything for me for my little Real Scout presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing. I do too, Lindsay. I love it, because then I'm not contacting my client and saying, hey, what did you like about this property? What did you not like about it? It's all right there for me.
All right. Awesome stuff. Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Okay.
You're welcome, Lindsay.
We are going to go back to where we started today. I got to find my original. There we are. So we started today. We're at the almost the conclusion of today's program. I want to say thank you to everybody who sat in for so long. There's a couple last minute pieces that I want to share with you because these are some other important tools for your business. Hold on, I gotta reshare. Okay, let's see. All right, we're back at the LAER Program and Services Guide, which we started at today. Whoops, I went to the wrong. That we started at today. Again, everything that we covered today is at laeragentservices.com. We're still at the program guide. You got to hear from Sergio about all the in-house marketing support. If you're a LAER agent, you got to hear about the social media support systems. We then went through just a few minutes ago what the options are for technology. At LAER, we give you as part of your membership here, dot loop and app files are built into your membership, as well as Showing Time, Cloud CMA, Boost by HomeSpotter, and a full G Suite. Under our $39 a month tech bundle, you get 3 products. One is Fellow, which is a set it and forget it system that sends a market report or automated valuation report to your sellers, everybody in your database every 2 weeks. But also from the back end of the system, it rates your entire database so you can see which sellers or which prospects in your database are most likely going to sell. And that makes it so that you're not treating your entire database the same. You are understanding which people within your current database are likely going to sell this year. We also, as part of our $39 per month tech bundle, include an agent website and Real Scout, which is the buyer search portal, which Ashley just showed you. We love the Real Scout platform because it makes it so that you're your own Zillow. We don't want our consumers going to Zillow because we'll lose them. The goal of Zillow is to sell the information to other real estate agents and to mortgage people. We also talked about the career development options at LAER. We went through our Algorwin program. We also have an Algorwin coaching program. Before you go through the coaching program, I would take the 12 courses that we created that go with the Algorwin system. As well, there's tons of training that you can find at our YouTube station. Not only is it classes and events that we create with our staff, but also we bring in speakers. So 2 years ago, we brought in Tom Ferry for 2 live events in Mass and Florida. As well, last year, we brought in Michael Mayer, who wrote the 7 Levels of Communication for a 6-month program. I always say in your business, in order to accelerate, you want to participate. And that's why we offer so many different agent luncheons and seminars and training classes and networking events, because the more that you're with fellow agents, the more you're going to pick up and use in your business. I do want to just spend a couple minutes talking about some of the other support services that are available at LAER. So most important is our Happy Agent support team. So at LAER, we have about 50 different staff members that are available to help with marketing, briefing sessions, like if you need one-on-one support, they do training, they do bookkeeping, they do compliance. We tell our agents, if you need anything, the best way to get help is just email happyagent@laerrealty.com. And when you email into Happy Agent, your request gets assigned to whichever staff member is best suited to answer your questions quickly and knowledgeably. So if you need anything for your business, always feel free to email Happy Agent. You'll also see in this book that we have all kinds of technology to make life easier. For example, we use Deposit Link and Earnest are two different ways for collecting escrow checks. Of course, you could just have a check mailed or dropped at any of our offices, but this just makes it so that you can save time. Just send somebody a link to make their to send their check, or instead of having to send a check to make their escrow deposit. And then we're a huge fan of e-check because e-checks makes it so much easier and faster to pay our agents. I do want to point out in this booklet, we also have a list of companies that provide leads to real estate agents. So this is really important to note. This page, and by the way, you can download this book at laerrealty.com/success tools. So here, on this page are all the companies that provide leads to real estate agents. On the left-hand side, these are referral fee-based lead platforms. So you can click on each one. These are live links so that you can go sign up for each one. On the right-hand side are the companies that are subscription-based, meaning you have to go pay a subscription in order to get leads from the system. I tell every agent, sign up for the referral fee-based lead platforms. They're less risky than the subscription-based. Yeah, they're expensive. They charge 35% for a referral fee to hand you business, but you're only paying if you end up closing something. So two things to remember about referral fee-based lead platforms. Number one, your goal is not just to sell these people houses. So when you get a lead from a referral fee-based lead platform, you're developing a raving fan that refers you business. That is first and foremost. So it doesn't actually matter if they end up buying or selling a house through you. Your goal with your entire database is to build raving fans who refer you business. That's number one. So don't focus on whether they buy or sell. Focus on your ability to turn cold leads into raving fans. All of this is built into the AlgoWin program. Secondly, I want to point out the cost of acquiring a new customer is 35%. That's the industry standard. Meaning if you sign up for any of these, you're paying a 35% referral fee. This means that you cannot build a great business on any lead platform because 35% is coming right off the top, and that's your overhead just to acquire the lead. This is why it is so important to embrace systems like the AlgoWin growth system so that you're not paying 35% to acquire a customer. But over time, as you build a great system for your business, you will eliminate paying any types of 35% referral fees or subscriptions because you are going to be your lead generator. You are going to be your own Zillow if you're building your business properly. So in the beginning, if you're newer to the business, yes, these are wonderful. Sign up for all of them so that you're getting referrals, but don't just focus on it and say, I hope I sell this person a house. You're focusing and saying, how do I turn this person into a raving fan? We do also have in-house transaction coordinating services. If you're an agent who hates paperwork, we've got a team that can do that for you. They do charge for it, so it's $400 per transaction. But this is wonderful. As you get to a certain point in your business, you're not going to want to do all the paperwork because you're going to want to move on to the next person. If you're a LAER agent, we also have several committees for you to consider joining. You can go to laerrealty.com/committees, technology, safety, career development. If you're interested in having a voice in the tools, the training, the technology at LAER, we would love to have you. We also have, you got to hear today from our sustainability officer, Craig Foley. Gave us all kinds of great content. We have a whole button on our LAER agent services about sustainable resources. One of the things we said is as one of the things you should execute on in your business is getting that green designation. We are proudly a realtor organization. I always say that one of the reasons, the number one reason I support the realtor organization is it's my belief it's the only reason we still have an industry is because we have a trade organization. If we did not have the trade organization, we would be like yellow taxis and the travel agent business and even the hotel business, which is losing to Airbnb. But thankfully, we have the National Association of Realtors, which I believe protects our interest in keeping our industry alive. And finally, if you are considering joining LAER, or maybe you heard some stuff today and you're like, they sound like an interesting company and you're not with LAER yet, I'd love to have a conversation with you about the tools, the training, and technology. We have offices all throughout Massachusetts, 3 offices in New Hampshire, we're in Maine, Florida, Connecticut. I'd love to have a conversation with you about potentially learning more about our firm. If you're interested, you can email me at happyagent@laerrealty.com. And last but not least, I want to make sure that before you sign off from this program today, please make sure you write down the things you're going to go execute on. It is not good enough to just sit through 3 hours of training. Training is a great place to hide in the real estate world. In other words, you can make it seem like you're staying busy and doing something, but it's all useless if you execute on nothing. So we gave you lots of things to execute on. Go build your buyer presentation, your listing presentation, your buyer guide, your seller guide, your investor presentation. Get your green designation. Sign up for MLS mailings. Sign up for TPMCO, thepersonalmarketingcompany.com. Dig into Real Scout or dig into Fellow and learn how to use those because those can be game changers for your business. And with that, I want to say thank you to Craig and Ashley and Sergio for helping us deliver another great boot camp, and we will be back again in June. Thanks, everyone. Have a great start to your summer and end to spring. Thanks, everyone.